How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Dallas Sports Network. My name is Jake Spicer, and I'm joined, as always, by Nate Johns, Noah Greco, Nate Sekulich, and Ian Frey. We're back with our power rankings for basketball with the girls. As a little bit of a heads up, this is being filmed on January 25th at about 2:25, so any games before that, we're not really counting into our standings because they didn't happen yet. But, Nate, why don't you start us off with your number 10?
So looking at my number 10, it's going to be a controversial one because this team is fifth currently in the 5A growth bracket. But I went with the Crestwood Comets. A lot of people are going to ask, why is North Pocono on here? Because Crestwood beat North Pocono head-to-head. And also, I think Crestwood has some impressive wins. They won on the road at Valley View, picked up some wins over Wyoming Valley West, Pittston area. Had a close game against Hazleton and fell short against the Mountaineers, but they won all the games you'd expect them to. And they're doing it with a winning head coach in Mary Vashak-Namey. We saw them just a short while ago. Played really well, unlike the Eagles on that Monday night, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
But Crestwood, really good season for them so far. That's why they're at my number 10. Noah, what about you?
I'm going with the Wood. I think you talked about it all, so that's enough said.
Okay.
I got Crestwood at 10.
So I have a pick that I don't think you guys would put at 10, but I have Dallas. I think Dallas,
Okay.
they can make it higher if they can
Disrespect.
make the easy layups, but I think with Molly Walsh having 16.2 points per game and Bigelow being a good defensive player, they are a stacked team right now in a few ways, even though they're young.
Absolutely. That's Ian Fry's analysis. Jake, who do you have at your number 10?
My number DA spot, I'm taking North Pocono and the Trojans.
Ooh.
I like North Pocono, 10-5, pretty solid, and they did lose to Crestwood, so that's kind of where my kind of settled it for me.
Yeah, when you're looking at North Pocono, I don't know who their signature win for the year would be. I mean, I know their big things, they played a tough non-conference schedule. Had a close game against Hazleton, but lost to Crestwood, and don't really have that win for me that stands out to put them in there. And at number 9, I'm going to go with the Mountain View Eagles. Mountain View, of course, made it all the way to the state quarterfinals or semifinals last year. I can't remember off the top of my head. Bringing back all 5 starters, and they've done nothing but deliver. Some losses to a team up in New York, Western Wayne and Seminary, and a team that will be featuring later on in this list to one side. Picked up a good win over Elk Lake. They beat a defending district runner-up in the Wyoming area. And overall, they've been playing some really good basketball. They've had a big winning streak that just came to an end recently. But I think they'll get back to their winning ways soon enough, and I think this Mountain View team has a chance to go deep in the 1A postseason once again.
I think that Mountain View is some frauds, and I think at my number 9, I got Williamsport, the Young Money crew. I look at their schedule. I see them stacking punishments like they're stacking that paper. And you know how I feel about the punishments. They just punished Bellefonte 70-27. I think they're well deserving of my 9 spot. Currently number 2 in the 6A, just behind Hazleton, who we know how they're doing.
Quick note, we're filming this on the 25th. Like Jake said, the Dallas Lady Mountaineers will be at Williamsport on Saturday. I believe you can catch that game on YouTube from Williamsport High School. Over the sack for number 9.
All right, so Noah, I think you're clueless.
Oh, my God!
Mountain View is the only right answer for number 9.
All right.
Just because he doesn't know where
Where
Mountain
it
View
is.
Wow.
I don't know what Mountain View is, but it's some frauds. It's on.
Didn't matter, of course.
I have a team that was already ranked in number 10, North Pocono.
Okay.
You know, they've had a decent season this year. They've only lost to Hazleton, Pittston area, Easton, and Crestwood, and Scranton Prep. But I think that they are a good enough team to be in this top 10.
All right, I'm not going to go as far as to say you guys are clueless, but I am taking Crestwood here in my number 9 spot. They look solid. They gave Dallas a fight when they were here in the gym. We watched that game. We were calling it. The Gallagher sisters doing great over there. They look like a solid squad. They got that coach, Mary Vashak, Very good coach. Sorry for forgetting your name, but I got Chris with it number 9.
Multiple time district champion, we'll start getting the pronunciations correct.
That is right.
Is important to us. And at my number 8, I'm gonna go with Lackawanna Trail. Trail sits at 11-3 with a win over Mountain View being their biggest accomplishment, losses to Elk Lake, Old Forge, which is problematic, and Dallas. But the quantity of their wins far outweighing their losses. They won 76% of their games, and even if it hasn't been against the best competition, it's hard to win all those games because winning so many games in a row is such a challenge at any level of sports. And the fact that Mountain View has been able to do that this year, or Lackawanna Trail, excuse me, the Lackawanna Trail's been able to do that this year, considering the trajectory of the program. Coming into this year, probably wasn't as high as some people thought it would be. They're currently the 1 seed in 2A, so I'm going to give them their due and put them at number 8.
For me, number 8 is we're going down there to Holy Redeemer. I got Holy Redeemer on my 8. They're on a 7-game win streak. And one more thing, shout out Butters, who's doing good on the lacrosse field. So Holy Redeemer is my 8. They've got a solid squad this year.
I think that's a little low.
A little low.
Yeah, I think it's low
A little
too.
low. Okay.
Oh, I got Dallas. I don't think that's much of a surprise to anyone.
I've got Lackawanna Trail here. I did say to Nate that I put them up a little bit high, but I decided to move them down a little bit. And I think Lackawanna Trail, they are a good team this season, but they do have some serious flaws, and we saw that when they faced Dallas mainly, I feel, and whenever they lose, they do lose pretty bad.
At this spot here, I'm taking Western Wayne and the Lady Wildcats. I like what they've done so far, beating up on some teams like Mountain View, just really getting it done out there. They put up, even in the losses, they put up a fight against teams like Valley View, you look at Crestwood. They put up a fight, they look solid, so I'm going to take Western Wayne here.
Western Wayne, probably my number 12. The losing skid they've been on. I mean, I've made it clear North Pocono was 11. So they're on the fringes for me, but I don't like the recent losing streak they've been on.
All right.
And speaking of teams that have recently broke out of losing streaks, even though it was one game, it's the Dallas Mountaineers at my number 7. You're gonna notice the trend that I think it's 9 through 5 have all played each other, and the winner has moved up into my personal rankings. But Dallas, they've been playing some really good basketball. They had a 5-game win streak. Then they lost to Hazleton, which kind of got away from them at the end, but it was closer than the final score would indicate. Then wins over Valley West, Wilkes-Barre, the win over Lehman, who's been quietly decent this year, the win over Trail in probably one of their most convincing wins of the year outside of Tunkhannock. They have 2 stars and a lot of good supporting pieces around them. The depth is still developing, considering a lot of the roster is made up of freshmen. But Dallas having a really good season, currently sitting at 2nd in the Wyoming Valley Conference Division I, which not a lot of people thought they would be this year. So power to them, and I have them at number 7.
For me, I have to go with Dunmore here at number 7. They're looking really good. I got my schedule here. They got what? 1, 2, 3. They got 8 win. They're on an 8-game win streak. They're in the same conference as Jake's Western Wayne and my Holy Redeemer. So I think they're clearly the best team in that conference at 3A. So I'm going with Dunmore there at 7.
I still think that's low.
I gotta go with
Right,
Abington. I think that's low too. But yeah, I'm going with Abington.
Okay.
You can see it.
I have Greater Nanticoke area, a little bit of a controversial pick here, I know. But I think that when they get hot, and they are a very streaky team, a little bit inconsistent, but I think they can be deserving of this spot if they can fix their inconsistencies.
All right, at the 7th spot right here, I'm taking Holy Redeemer. Like was mentioned earlier, they're on an absolute heater. We saw them come into this gym and they performed well against the girls, beat them. I want to give a shout out to my boy Max Bowen, aka Back 9 Bowen. All right, this man makes the greatest. Tearing it up on the links, this man makes the greatest comeback of all time. So, taking Redeemer here.
And for my number 6, I'm going with Holy Redeemer. I mean, 8 was too low, but I think 6 is just right for them, just outside of the top 5. Their 4 losses have come against Abington Heights, who you're going to see probably very shortly with my picks and throughout the rest of these rankings. And their other 3 losses came to 2 schools in New York and Trinity, who I believe knocked them out in the volleyball state playoffs, if I remember correctly. But Redeemer's got a lot of depth, good talent. We've seen that this year because they've dealt with a large amount of injury issues, but they've really been able to step it up, keep playing really good basketball, and they still run the WBC Division II, taking that from Lake Lehman. So props to Holy Redeemer. I have them at number 6.
At 6, I got Dallas, creeping into my top 5, not quite there yet. They got a lot of big statement wins. Crestwood, they beat Lackawanna Trail, who some of my lesser educated panel members put in the top 10. And Holy Redeemer, they lost one too, but I think they have a pretty tough schedule, and they've been able to produce despite that. So I'm going Dallas, getting in my top 5.
So Noah does not care about head-to-head wins.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 6. Oh, my fault.
No, you're good.
My number 6, I got North Pocono.
For me at number 6, I have Abington Heights. They started off the season 0-2, but I think they really turned it around from there, becoming second in the division for 5A. I do really like how they are looking. They're only behind Scranton, and if you look at it, if Scranton was not there, they would be first in a very tough division.
This is where I'm taking the Dallas Mountaineers, and you may want to say, Jake, wait a minute, you just picked Redeemer below them when Redeemer beat Dallas, but that's not all that matters, okay? Dallas, they got heart, they got grit, they got heart and guts, okay? Beating teams like Pittston, Crestwood, like Nate said, very close game to Hazleton, you wouldn't tell by the scoreline, but beating Wilkes-Barre, beating Valley West 3 times, all right? The Lady Mountaineers are on fire, and they only have room to grow.
And moving into the top 5, Ian, you said you had some controversial picks. I don't think Abington Heights at 6 was one of them, because I have them at number 5. The Comets, like you said, started the season out 0-2 at the Hazleton Area Invitational, but since then they've won 11 of 13, with their only losses coming to Scranton and Scranton Prep, but convincing wins over Valley View. Not quite as strong a team as we've been used to seeing, but they're still playing some really good basketball. They've been able to pick up some good wins both at home and on the road, including Holy Redeemer, who some people decided to put lower in the top 10 than teams that beat them. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm going with Abington Heights for number 5.
For me, I gotta go with North Pocono. They got a really strong squad here. They're in my top 5. They barely lost to Hazleton, and they're playing pretty good. 3rd in the tough 5A. So I gotta go with North Pocono here.
Number 5, I gotta go with Redeemer. You know, I was kind of in a toss-up between them and my next pick, but you know, I'm pretty sure they're on a 7-game win streak, so it's nothing to laugh at.
Well, I have a team that that I think is very good right now, Dunmore. They could lead a division right now if they do good, but I think it could be a little bit low for some people, but or high. But Dunmore, I think they deserve a top 5 spot in a few ways because they can be a good team.
Can I just say, let me tell you what.
Learn something.
Tell you what. It's been a little bit since football season, you know, but we're back here at the tables, and I love the backhanded comments and like just it's good, right? You know, this is good.
We love that.
We disagree. We love to disagree. All right, that's our job. I'm taking Abington, by the way, but you know, I love it. It's good to be back. Just want to tell you guys that. Proceed.
You know, speaking of backhanded comments, I'm going to say this directly to Noah Greco. How do you put North Pocono in the top 5 when you have a defending state champion in the Dunmore Lady Bucks, who've been 11-3, whose 2 of their 3 losses came outside of District 2, and the third came to arguably a state title contender in Scranton Prep? I don't hate North Pocono, although many people probably think I do based on these rankings. I have North Pocono on the fringes of the top 10. But Dunmore is a top 5, a top 4 team. I have them at number 4. Just the way they have fought through losing their best player to graduation to still be 11-3. And to have 2 of those losses, 2 of those losses be outside of District 2, one of those losses by 3 points to a perennial District 11 powerhouse in Allentown Central Catholic. I think Dunmore being outside of anyone's top 5 is just questionable
Yeah.
at best.
I don't know about questionable at best. I think they kind of got a cupcake schedule, if you ask me. Like, what you know about Carbondale area? What you know about Holmesdale Hornets?
Holmesdale is a team.
Holmesdale is one of the teams ever. I'm gonna have to go with my 4 here. Abington Heights, currently number 2 in 5A, 11-4. They're having themselves a year. I think they definitely deserve to be in the top 5.
Once again, clueless.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, listen.
my God.
Just wait till the end of the year. Dunmore's gonna fall off. I'm telling you. They're gonna be around the 7 come end of the year.
I was the only person here that.
I think that Dunmore's number 4. They're on an 8-game win streak, which is why I put them above Redeemer, who's on that 7-game win streak. It's close, but yeah, I got to go with Dunmore here.
I've got a team that you guys put a little bit low in my opinion. They're on a 7-game win streak, Holy Redeemer. Like, how can you leave them out with that big of a win streak? That is just a team that I think deserves to be somewhere in the top 5.
Them and Dunmore in the
That's
district
a
championship game is going to be good.
Fellas,
Don't be disrespectful.
we're not asking the real questions here.
What's the real question, Jake?
God.
Female deer don't have horns, so why does the Dunmore Ladybucks logo have horns? Nevertheless,
That's a good question.
they're a heck of a team, and they're in my 4th spot, okay? They're red hot. What do you want from the Dunmore Bucks other than
I
wins?
don't know.
They probably didn't want to just rip off the Bambi logo and
They should have done.
get sued by Disney.
And Disney and soon.
But if anybody has
Disney-
that answer, let us.
Disney does like to sue people.
But if anybody has
I
that
learned that
answer, let us know on Instagram on DHS Sports Network. Subscribe here at DHS Today so you can hear more of Noah Greco's insane takes.
They told me, you know
Whoa.
what, somebody got me a Wally hat from Disneyland once. That's all I gotta say about Disney.
Okay then.
They do like to sue people.
Moving on to the top 3, I think it's safe to say that everybody's top 3 is going to be the same teams, although maybe in a slightly different order.
Don't sleep on them.
Oh, you're right. I shouldn't. Maybe North Pocono will be a top 5 team by the end of the year. I just don't
They
think
are.
they are right now.
They are.
No, they're not.
They're in there.
They're third best in
And
their own
Trojans
playoff
are
bracket.
all reliable. You can always rely on them.
Always.
Being
Always.
third best in their own bracket aside, I put at my number 3 a team that's first in their classification. I went with Hazleton. Hazleton came in, just has been absolutely dominant all year except for a loss to Scranton. And after a 2-1 start, they have won 13 straight in a row and just look dominant every single time. We saw this team play last week. Well, when we're filming this, so maybe it was 2 weeks ago by the time you see this. I don't know.
Or
Things
3.
take time to film and edit. Thank you, Mr. Zug, by the way. But Hazleton is the favorite in 6A, and it's no mystery why. They've just been dominating. We talk about win streaks. They probably have the best one in District 2 hoops, so I'm putting the Cougars at number 3.
For me, this is Scranton Prep here at number 3.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a tough time getting past that 0-0 game versus Long Pop Pack.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Well, I want to correct someone at this table real quick. North Pocono is not reliable all the time, especially not against Hazleton, Pittsburgh, Easton, Westwood, or my number 3, Scranton Prep. Shout out to Jacob Phillips.
Oh, wow.
JP.
My God.
So I have a team here that is really good, and the only team to beat Scranton Prep in this spot.
Okay.
This might be the first time we've agreed all day, but I'm taking those hazy Cougars, okay?
We've had a couple picks.
We have?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, never mind.
Abington.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Never
Redeemer, I
mind.
think.
Forget everything I just said. Still give me Hazleton. All right, could very well be undefeated. Only team they lost to is Scranton. Understandable. But, I mean, I only saw the garbage time of the Hazleton game. But I mean, you can't deny Hazleton. Got to put him at 3.
Absolutely. Jake and I agree, Noah Greco fighting with the rest of the table
And I'm on my own
as the North
All I gotta
Pocono.
say.
As the North
here.
Pocono.
Pocono's protection you trust, you know what I'm saying?
As somebody who has family that went to North Pocono,
Whoa.
you are doing them a disservice.
What? What? No.
Wow.
You're doing a lot. I'm doing my top 5.
I'm being
You guys-
realistic.
Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, there's nothing to be realistic about here. They're in the top 5, man.
Well, at my number 2, it's a team that beat North Pocono by quite a substantial margin, and it's a team that beat Scranton by quite a substantial margin. It's the Scranton Prep Cavaliers. You guys have them at number 3 behind Hazleton, and I can understand that, except for when you look at Prep's losses. Red Bank Catholic, who is a prep school, who's a school out in New Jersey, who's one of New Jersey's biggest basketball powerhouses. Upper Dublin in District 1, 1-point loss. Huge game there. Now, St. John Newman and Maria Goretti, I'm assuming that's assumed, Newman and Goretti team that is featured many times during our football and basketball analysis videos, but they only had a 1-point loss to Scranton at the line of tournament, Scranton's first ever line at tournament win for their girls program. But they blew out Scranton by 20 points. Granted, there was an injury, and we wish the player who got hurt in that game to get well soon. But Scranton Prep has just been rolling since that line of tournament, and even then, they picked up a 17-point win over Dunmore, which is impressive all on its own. So with all these big wins, I gotta put Prep at number 2.
Yeah, that 17-point punishment of Dunmore, it's impressive. They're in the top 10, but they're not, I don't know, wherever you got them.
But they're not as good as North Pocono.
Right, they're
Oh,
not
no.
as good as,
Of course
they're
not.
not as reliable as North Pocono.
That defense is unmatched.
Exactly. Number 2, I got Hazleton here. 1 loss on the season. They just looked unstoppable. I don't know how else to put this. They're just, what is this, 13 straight wins on the year for them. So I think they're easily number 2, and they would be number 1 if it wasn't for number 1.
You know, the team that beat them head to head.
Yeah.
So I have good news for Noah. He's not the only one at this table who is clueless. Nate's
Whoa.
putting
Oh my god.
Prep over Hazleton is
Prep beat Scranton
Prep.
by 20 points.
Okay. And that's all I gotta say. Hazleton's my number 2.
Yeah.
Hazleton lost to Scranton.
Doesn't
I
matter.
don't know if it's good.
Okay, so Nate and Jake, I can see why you guys are putting Hazleton over Prep, but I just think Hazleton on a 13-game winning streak, I think they deserve to be over Prep, even though Prep has looked really good. They're on a 13-game winning streak. That is consistency on another level, in my opinion. I think Hazleton just gets number 2.
So we got 2 teams left from the same city.
You like the city, man.
And you know, not from this tale specifically, but I've heard this and that from all around the counties that, you know, Scranton Prep is better than Scranton. Let me be clear. Okay? Bob Baviglia, love him like a brother. But
That's right.
Scranton Prep, are you kidding me? They go in number 2. No way, no how are they the number 1 team. Gotta give me Scranton Prep for number 2.
I think
Let me be
there's
clear.
I think there's definitely an argument to put Scranton Prep at number 1 with the
No,
dominant
no.
win they had at Scranton.
I don't want to hear it.
Let me,
outside the top tier.
I'm gonna pose a question to Ian, Nate, and Noah. Answer however you see fit. Why do you think Scranton Prep would lose to Hazleton? If we put this game tomorrow
We put this game tomorrow.
in a neutral site,
And then
why would Hazleton be favored over Prep?
Because Hazleton hasn't lost since last year.
Oh!
To December 5th, they haven't lost since December 5th.
Who did they lose to on December
Do
5th?
you remember what you were doing on December 5th?
Yes,
What were you doing on, you can't remember.
I have a point for you, Nate.
depends what day.
Hazleton has not scored less than 47 points all season except for versus Nazareth. On this win streak, they have only scored 47 points at the least. That is the least they've scored in this win streak.
But
they've
answer me
scored
this.
80 multiple times. Their offense has been really high powered.
Yeah, except when they played Scranton, who Prep beat by 20.
Anyway.
Oh, no, yeah, but that was a year ago. That was last year. That was December 5th of last year. This team has come a long way. They haven't lost since then.
Yeah, Prep.
They beat Punxsutawney area for crying out loud.
You only know that because that's where the Pennsylvania groundhog lives.
No, that's not, no, there's some ball.
Hey, don't diss Punksy P, okay?
Don't-
I don't want to hear it.
I'm offending everyone today, apparently.
Anyways,
Yeah.
all right, come
Just
on.
remember that.
What?
December 5th.
Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it
December
rolling.
5th. Remember that.
All right, let's wrap.
Who's number one? Who's number one?
Slip that in there.
I think we all have the same number one, despite the arguments I've talked myself into. Obviously, it's Scranton.
Well, why isn't Hazelton number one?
Oh,
We're
yeah.
not caring about head-to-head.
Let's keep it going. We got running out of time.
Well, then it should be Prep. Well, then it should be Prep at number one. We're putting Scranton at number 2, and we'll put Prep at number 1.
Oh.
No, that'll be next week. That'll be next week. We'll put
That'll be
Scranton,
never.
Scranton number 1.
Nope.
Some big wins outside of the area: Marion Catholic, Williamsport, Emmaus, Franklin in New Jersey, Franklin High School in New Jersey,
Who's Franklin? Who's that?
Benjamin Franklin.
Oh.
Except he's dead. And the Scranton Knights are very much
What does
alive.
that mean?
And the Scranton Knights are very much alive. A big convincing win over Wallenpaupack. They're going to meet Prep one more time in Scranton High School on February 2nd. And the result of that game should determine who's
Or
number
not.
1 at that time. But until then, I'm keeping Scranton at number 1 unless they give me a reason not to.
Yeah,
I might have.
I got Scranton too. You said Benjamin Franklin. Nate said, we heard Nate say Benjamin Franklin's dead.
Preach.
No, he's not dead.
Real.
Scranton. They're
Really?
they're very much alive. 14-1. They're I think they're the best team in the area.
It's been dead for like 200 years.
Exactly. Not Scranton.
God rest his soul.
4-0 for them.
Yeah, I got Scranton.
So, yes, I do have Scranton, but if you go over to 4A, and I'm doing this again like we did in the boys game, there are 2 teams at the very bottom that seem to be, if they win, they could be serious contenders. Tunkhannock and Hanover area.
Don't sleep.
Never sleep on them. They may have less of the win column, but look at that L column. They have more in the L column.
That's
And
right.
who cares about the L?
That's a great argument for number 1.
Scranton.
There you go.
And so that's
a
a
great
great
pick.
I'm upset.
So that's going to do it for our top 10. I'm sure you guys had a lot of takes on it. Make sure to let us know about them at DHS Sports Network on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to DHS Today. Go watch our Boys Rankings video if you have not already. And we'll have another Boys Rankings video out soon. But for Ian, Nate, Noah, myself, Jake,
Good luck to all teams. God bless Ben Franklin. Gone too soon. And, have a good night.
and we love North Pocono.